In these 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about my style of leadership coming into the class and how I realized that servant leadership was a smarter way. I will then discuss the 4 key takeaways of the class and how I can implement it into my life. Going into Kevin's class, I had a dominant style of leadership that was after benefiting myself before others. Having a deep desire to achieve my goals, but doing it alone was something that came to mind when it was mentioned in class. My ambition was something that gave me most of my success thus far, and not having a burning desire to help others was something that I lacked. Being able to express myself to get engraved into a culture was something I lacked as well. I found myself not trusted from others at times and looked down upon because when I had success, they could see the ambition was something of my own benefit. So going into the key takeaways, the first one was the Thoreau quote. Thoreau had talked about people live quiet lives of desperation, and people who are happy participate in something larger than themselves. And this was something that gave them a purpose. How I can implement these into my life are changing myself. Oftentimes I get home from class and I'm resting or alone time. If I could use some of that time with others, maybe a group, team, or get involved in the community. Kevin does a lot of that, and it's paid off for him tremendously. Adaptive leadership, distributing loss at a rate people can absorb. Open a new perspective and not staying closed off based on your ways of managing or looking at people. Welcome new experience because it's just as important as judgment. How I can implement this into my life and make changes are bringing flexibility into my life. In the class, we talked about adaptive challenge of direction, protection, and order. All 3 things being a kind of secure, straightforward personality. Those 3 things are something that I typically hate to change, and a lot of us hate to change as well. But in order to become an adaptive leader, you have to be open for others' ideas. Oftentimes I find myself with the same people with the same thoughts. Instead of being closed off and focused on my goals, it's important to ask other people as well and reach out and see what they think. Focus on the interior. Having the self-ambition I have, I'm pretty well at this, but I often feel like this because I don't connect to the right kind of people. Having that ambition to grow oneself is attractive, but in the extreme that I have it, it pulls me away from attractive and loving people. When your ambition becomes so high that you're just focused on yourself, it pulls you away from people and the love. Focusing on your interior still means finding the right coaches, mentors, and close friends. But you have to have some people to help you with that. It can't all come from your own fuel. And the last thing I want to talk about is entrepreneurship. Oftentimes, people fall into a 9-to-5 job. They do the things that they're good at. They stay with the same people. They think the same things, like I said, I'd mentioned. They keep their selfish ambitions focused on what they're good at, but they don't think outside the box. Kevin, just from being around him in class, often challenges his own beliefs, goes outside of his comfort zone before he makes a judgment upon something. He experiences things like we mentioned in class. The experience is so important for judgment. And if you're not thinking like an entrepreneur at times, someone who believes in creating the lifestyle for themselves, a lifestyle by design, you can lack being able to change. And I think this is also why Kevin and myself are really interested in servant leadership, because you have to kind of think like an entrepreneur to be an adaptive leader, to be able to accept new things before you just lay standards and regulations down. You have to be able to get outside of your comfort zone. All right, that's all I've got. Servant leadership, 4 key takeaways. Thoreau quote, adaptive leadership, focusing on your interior with the help of other people, and the entrepreneurship mindset.